The shimmering gateway of the Chronos Labyrinth warped and buckled as Leo, Mia, and their glowing companion Lumen stepped through. Instantly, the stable entrance dissolved behind them, plunging them into a dizzying, kaleidoscopic tunnel. Streams of time, visible as ribbons of colored light, twisted and intertwined around them. Confusing echoes from different eras bounced off the temporal walls. The distant roar of a gladiator crowd mingled with the futuristic chime of a flying vehicle. A disoriented Lumen zipped back and forth, its light flickering as it tried to make sense of the chaotic currents. Their path was a series of swirling, whirligig wormholes, playful but dangerously unstable temporal portals that spun like vibrant cosmic pinwheels. Before they could steady themselves, one of the larger wormholes exerted a sudden, irresistible pull. It sucked them into a brief, comical detour that flickered through their own timeline. For one surreal moment, they saw themselves as wide-eyed toddlers wobbling around a futuristic playground. The scene then flashed forward, showing them as weathered, elderly explorers with gray hair and wise smiles before the wormhole violently spat them back into the main labyrinth. Disoriented and laughing, they tumbled out of the temporal vortex and landed with a soft thud. Not on the crystalline floors of the labyrinth, but on the warm, yielding sand of a vibrant prehistoric beach. The air was thick with the scent of salt and strange, oversized flora. Giant, long-necked creatures with duck-like bills and webbed feet waddled past them, their gentle eyes blinking slowly. These dino ducks, as Mia instantly dubbed them, were completely unfazed by the sudden appearance of three time travelers. The ocean was a pristine, impossible blue, and the sand was dotted with bizarre, shimmering shells that pulsed with a soft light and hummed with a low, melodic frequency. As they ventured cautiously inland, a rhythmic thumping sound echoed from the dense jungle. They soon found its source, a clumsy, herbivorous dinosaur with a comically long neck and a tiny head, which they named the Green Groover. It was attempting to dance to the beat, but its enormous feet kept getting tangled, resulting in a series of accidental yet surprisingly effective disco moves. Leo and Mia stifled their giggles watching the creature's earnest but awkward performance. The scene was interrupted by a new wave of chaos. A group of squat, feathered ancient penguins looking like oversized puffins were engaged in a spirited prank war. They were rolling large, smooth stones down a gentle slope, cackling with glee as they narrowly missed the Green Groover's swaying tail. One of the rolling stones, however, went astray and bumped squarely into Mia, causing her to stumble and drop a small temporal artifact she was carrying. As the artifact clattered to the ground, Mia had a sudden realization. The thumping sound wasn't just random noise, it was a temporal rhythm, a beat that seemed to hold this pocket of time together. She quickly pulled out her flute, its metallic surface gleaming in the prehistoric sun. Closing her eyes, she began to mimic the rhythm, her melody weaving through the jungle air, attempting to stabilize the local time stream. Meanwhile, Lumen, ever the diligent guardian, focused its light on the stones being rolled by the prehistoric penguin pranksters. It detected that the stones were resonating with the labyrinth's energy, their movement creating ripples in the temporal fabric. As Mia's flute music swelled, the Green Groover's clumsy steps transformed, its movements becoming more fluid and graceful as it finally found its groove. Following the energy signature Lumen had detected, the trio discovered a Temporal Tide Pool. It was a shimmering puddle on the forest floor, its surface reflecting not the sky above, but a swirling montage of different eras, a flash of a medieval castle, a glimpse of a chrome-plated city. Mia understood at once it was a puzzle. To open a stable portal, they needed to harness the unique energy of this place. Leo recalled the humming shells from the beach. Guided by the prehistoric penguins, who had followed them out of curiosity, he began to arrange the shells around the pool. The penguins, thinking it was a new game, started pecking at the correct shells in a rhythmic pattern that matched the temporal beat, inadvertently showing Leo the correct sequence. As Leo carefully placed the final humming shell into position, a fleeting, shadowy ripple disturbed the surface of the tide pool. For a terrifying, heart-stopping moment, they all saw a reflection that wasn't their own, a vague, formless shape that seemed to absorb light, an entity of pure shadow, flickered in the pool's depths before vanishing completely. A sudden, unnatural chill ran down their spines, a stark contrast to the tropical warmth. The moment the shadow disappeared, the temporal tide pool stabilized, its swirling reflections coalescing into a shimmering, stable portal leading back to the main Chronos Labyrinth. With a final comical honk and one last disco move, the Green Groover bid them farewell. The penguins, meanwhile, let out a triumphant squawk, clearly believing their prank had been a resounding success. Safely back in the crystalline corridors of the labyrinth, Mia pieced together their experience. The playful rhythm of the penguins' game and the Green Groover's dance wasn't just a random occurrence, it was a temporal signature, a key. She now understood that navigating the labyrinth wasn't just about surviving its twists and turns, but about understanding the rhythms of time that governed each of its domains. As this realization dawned on her, the temporal map in Leo's hand shimmered and updated. A new segment materialized, depicting a winding path of musical notes labeled the Melody Maze. The icon for the Chronos Labyrinth now had a small musical note beside it, a clue they had earned. Their brief moment of triumph was cut short as Lumen began to glow with a faint, uneasy light. The tiny guardian could still sense the shadowy entity's presence lingering nearby. It hadn't attacked them directly, but its appearance felt like a test, a way of gauging the labyrinth's defenses and their own abilities. The adventure was growing more serious, the stakes higher, yet it still held a sense of wonder and fun. After a wild prehistoric detour, Leo, Mia, and Lumen have learned that even chaos can hold clues in the Chronos Labyrinth. With the shadowy entity watching, can they master the Melody Maze and unlock the next secrets of time? The journey continues in the next temporal adventure.